I'm Indy Neidell, and this is Out of the Foxholes, where I sit here in my chair of infinite knowledge and answer your questions about the Second World War. Bahata Hamin asks, what was the Kurdish role during World War II? Okay, Kurds are an ethnic group concentrated in Kurdistan, a region encompassing what is, in the 21st century, parts of Iraq, Iran, Syria, Turkey, and Armenia. Kurdish nationalists have been pushing for self-determination since the late 19th century, and especially in the wake of the Great War. But these hopes have been consistently dashed. So by 1941, right, the Kurds are scattered across the Middle East and the Caucasus. So they're under different rulers and nations. So it's kind of difficult to gauge exactly their role during the war. But, I'll give it a shot. And I will be giving away some spoilers here, though nothing major, right? Don't worry. So there's around 46,000 Kurds living in the USSR in 1939. And they're distributed among the Transcaucasian SSRs of Georgia, Armenia, and Azerbaijan. They will serve in almost every operation carried out by the Red Army right up to the very end of the war. Some become Soviet war heroes. Most notable is Samand Aliyevich Siabandov, who will be the first Kurd to be in charge of a Red Army regiment. He'll also be the first Kurd to win the title Hero of the Soviet Union. He gets it in 1945, and it will be for leading his regiment during the fight for Belorussia, when they repulse 11 counterattacks by a German division on the Narva River. Another notable Kurd is a sniper by the name of Akhmedov, who in the Battle of Sevastopol takes down 17 enemy soldiers in 10 days. Another Kurd named Karaseva will receive both Hero of the Soviet Union and the Partisan of the Fatherland War in the first degree for his guerrilla activity against the German occupation in the Volhynia Oblast in Ukraine. Unfortunately, this patriotic loyalty will not be enough for the Kurds to avoid forced deportation by the NKVD, along with other ethnic minorities, to Central Asia in 1944. The NKVD believes that the Kurds along the border between the Georgia SSR and Turkey are too Turkicized, and therefore they pose a potential security threat. So around 8,500 of them-ish will be deported eastward in November that year. Kurds also fight for the Free French during the Allied invasion of Syria in 1941. Across the border in Iraq, Kurds make up 10 companies in the Iraqi levies, along with Assyrians, Arabs, and Turkmen, and they support the British in defeating the 1941 pro-Nazi Iraq coup that we saw in the regular weekly episodes. They do this despite Hitler's promises of independent statehood. There were some Kurdish veterans still alive in the 21st century. Ahmad Mustafa Delzar, born in 1920, will still be alive in October 2019. And he claims that he was the 8,000th Kurd who joined the levies on February 28, 1943. I do not know if he lived to reach 100 or not, or if he's still alive now in January 2021 when we're filming this. Maybe one of you can tell me. DC Daily 2003 asks, did Germany ever claim South Tyrol from the Italians? Okay, well, the short answer is no. But it does come up in German-Italian relations from time to time over the years. Created out of the historic county of Tyrol in the Habsburg lands, the region of South Tyrol was annexed by Italy following the Great War. And butting up against Austria, it's like 75% German-speaking. Now, Mussolini was implementing Italianization measures in South Tyrol since 1922, including the closure of German schools and really encouraging Italian immigration into the region. So as a result, several German-speaking South Tyroleans created resistance groups against the suppression of the German language, with the hope that Hitler would liberate them, after he becomes chancellor in 1933. But he never does. And he actually renounced all German claims to it in a pamphlet he wrote back in 1923, and then does again in Volume 2 of Mein Kampf. Even so, there are renewed hopes that things will change in 1938 after Germany annexes Austria with the Anschluss, and the Third Reich now stretches all the way to the doorstep of South Tyrol. Rumors spread that Mussolini would give South Tyrol to Germany, and this led to protests and general unrest both for and against rumored annexation. So Hitler and Mussolini can no longer really ignore the South Tyrol situation. They finally decide to address it. On June 23rd, 1939, Heinrich Himmler has a conference with Italian political leaders, and it outlines a resettlement plan for South Tyroleans that would come in 3 phases. But this does not go into effect because, well, Italy and Germany are at somewhat of an impasse. Italy blames the German citizens in the region for continued unrest and wants them out, but Germany is reluctant to announce any resettlement plans. So the situation drags on into the beginning of the European War in September until Himmler finally decides to call an emergency conference at the beginning of October, still 1939. This seems to settle the matter, and what is called the South Tyrol Option Agreement is signed on October 21st. The agreement gives the German-speaking South Tyroleans the option of either emigrating and being resettled in Germany or remaining in Italy and losing their minority rights. Given these 2 options, more than 80% of the German-speaking South Tyroleans choose to be resettled in Germany, most of them doing so just north of the Italian border. Ad Coleman asks, what's the deal with Hitler's mustache? Apparently he asks it in a semi-Jerry Seinfeld voice. So what's the deal with Hitler's mustache? Well, Hitler did not always have that classic toothbrush mustache style. Well, in adulthood, I mean, it should be pretty obvious he didn't have one as a baby. Photographic evidence from when he served in the Great War shows that he once had the Kaiser mustache, a popular style throughout Germany because of its links with the monarchy and because it was just so sexy. We don't actually know when this style was replaced by his lifelong mustache. And there are many conflicting reports and theories about it. One explanation is that it was from necessity. And this is a claim supported by Alexander Frey, who was a soldier who served in the 16th Bavarian Reserve Regiment with Hitler. According to Frey, a commanding officer ordered Hitler to trim the Kaiser mustache because it impedes the proper wearing of a gas mask. So instead of, shaving it off, Hitler opted to retain a more trench-suitable toothbrush mustache. But a picture from 1921 clearly shows Hitler sporting a much broader mustache than a toothbrush one. That was my Max Headroom impression, I guess. A toothbrush one, despite not being a Kaiser one either. So another theory is that the mustache is not a product of the war at all, and instead simply came about for fashion purposes. And cultural icons like Charlie Chaplin, they have the same style. And in Germany itself, Kaiser-era styles declined after the war. So it's not that surprising that Hitler adopted this particular one. There is one last, at least plausible theory here. This one relates to Hitler's love of art and his favorite painting, The Wild Chase. Now, this was painted in 1889 by Franz von Stuck. The eerie picture, it shows the Germanic god Wotan sporting a toothbrush mustache and Hitler-esque hairstyle, leading a procession of the dead. Hitler was born in 1889, and the painting was a favorite of his even in his youth, so it wouldn't be too implausible to speculate that he might have at some point based his look on that. Unfortunately, this is actually the most definitive answer I can give about the origins of Hitler's most infamous mustache. There's a chance that all 3 theories contain elements of truth, but any concrete answer will continue to elude us for as long as we shall live. Probably afterwards, too. Hey, if you'd like to check out how the Middle East was carved up after the First World War, the Great War, you can check out our Between Two Wars video on that right here. And if you have a question you'd like answered, don't just throw it in the comments, right? Because it might get lost in the shuffle. You can ask it at community.timeghost.tv. There'll be a greater chance of us seeing it. And if you'd like your question to be prioritized like the ones today were, then you can join the Time Ghost Army at patreon.com or timeghost.tv. See you next time.